Hi AMFishers, I'm Bill Georgopoulos, the host of the AMFisH fishing video blog. Just out here doing a little bass fishing, not too far outside of Toronto, and I wanted to take the opportunity to shoot a bunch of videos for my fishing blog. So this video pertains to soft plastic baits, creature baits, worms, those types of baits that they're plentiful on the market. There's a ton of them to pick from. How do you use them? When do you get them? What size do you use? All that other stuff. So, to jump straight into it, in the early months, unfortunately here in Canada we can't really bass fish too early. You got to wait for the season to actually open. But I know from having fished out in Texas with a great gentleman down there when I had gone, in the early months you're going to want to try and use a creature bait or a worm that is a little smaller and skinnier. What people tend to kind of miss is when you're out there in the early months, again, whether it's late April or May, especially here in Canada when we get out probably around May, mid-May, the problem you run into is bait fish, or just any bait, has not had a real opportunity to get any growth. So you're not going to want to go throwing a big plastic worm if the worms, or natural worms, whether it's salamanders or whatever it may be, in the water are not that big. So just to show you an example here, I'm going to pick a relatively large creature bait here. This is just a Berkeley bait. It's just a creature bait. Looks like a little crawfish, black and blue. I'm going to put something next to this just to give you that difference in size. This is also another Berkeley bait, just like a little crayfish style bait. But if you look at these two here, there's a significant difference. Length, maybe not so much, but if you look at the size, the thickness of this one here, it actually is a lot thicker than this body style here. So come spring, I'd be throwing something like this. A little bit thinner body size. The actual tentacles here are not as pronounced as they are on this other larger bait here. When you get into other styles of creature baits, again, keeping them relatively small in the spring and the earlier months of the summer, and then you can go larger come full-fledged summer. But then just to show you another little difference here, bringing back that big, that rather large creature bait there. Here's another version of one. Very, very similar. It's not, this one's got the legs, this one doesn't. But if you look at the body size, again, this is a little bit chunkier, but thinner when you look at the width. This one's thinner this way, and then when you look at it head on, it's actually thicker. So this here again would be another good bait to throw in the earlier months. Something like this I'd probably be throwing come late summer when bait fish, and again any type of bait in the water, have had a chance to actually grow. Just to give you another little tidbit there when it comes to creature baits, here's another one here. This is kind of a mix. It's a creature slash worm. So as you can see, it's got these rather, let me separate them here, these rather large tentacles here, the body of a worm, but some of these pronounced little paddles here are more of a creature style. So that's just another little versatile little bait there. When you're getting back into the creature baits, you can actually get even smaller. I'm going to pull out, oh, sorry, the wind is blowing a few of my baits around, but I'm going to pull out a few different versions here just to show you a very, very different, again, that's a thicker, chunkier bait, and that is a smaller, got a few more legs on that one, but it is significantly smaller. And again, I'll hold them back out here so you can see them. It is significantly smaller. These are fantastic. What I'll end up doing with some of these is not even only in the spring, but if fish are hitting a bait this size and they just decide to stop hitting something that size, I'm going to shrink it down. I may even go, again, if I've been using this one and this one here's been working, and I'm noticing all of a sudden that they stop, I'm going to drop a smaller bait, which will be this bait here. It's just a blue version of that one. But that's the key thing when it comes to these baits. There's so many on the market. I've been asked numerous times, which one should I get? What should I use? What works? There's a lot of different brands out there. I don't really support any specific one more than the other. But again, I'll just get into when we're dealing with the worms themselves. Very thin, not so long, about a 6-inch worm, but if you notice a profile on that, it is extremely thin. I'm going to pull out another little ribbed one here. You'll notice again that has a chunkier style. It is a little bit completely different body when you look at that with all the ribs on it, but it is a chunkier worm. So this again is something I'd probably use in the early months. This here is something I would probably use in the later months. Doesn't mean you can't mix and match them. Again, when I say use smaller, thinner baits in the spring, it's just to match the hatch when bait fish and natural bait in the actual water has not had a big and a long opportunity to actually grow. There's going to be times where you're going to want to throw a worm like this, nice thin profile, because the fish, you know, stopped hitting this. You may have caught 15, 20 fish on a bait that thick, and all of a sudden it just stops working. Well, that's where I'm going to go to something thinner and try that. Then you get into a different situation where all of a sudden now you need a really big worm, because this one has stopped to work. The chunkier style has stopped to work. So then you go to a nice big chunky body. This is an 8-inch worm. As you can see, it's a huge difference. You know, it's basically a version of this worm, but significantly larger in size. When I put it next to this one here, you'll see it's a massive difference in size. This one here's probably got the girth of my index finger. I'll hold it next to my index finger, but it's pretty big worm. So you're going to want to mix them up. You're going to want to have a variety. I probably have about, I'll show you a few packs here. I just have a bunch of packs with me. Various colors that I use up here in Canada that work for me, that I have success with. But don't be stingy on them either. Have a bunch with you. You may go through 3 or 4 packs in one day if you're having a successful day on the water. But again, there's a lot of good brands out there. These are Berkley Havoc. Most of these are Berkley Havoc. They make a nice creature bait, and I like some of the color patterns they have. Zoom makes a bunch of good ones. And these ones here are Hag tornado baits that I got from Austin, Texas, when I fished with Tommy Hagler down there, a great gentleman that I met. But I was able to pick up some of his baits. If you want to try these are fantastic because they're garlic scented. Check out www.hagstornadobait.com. And these worms here, these really large worms I was showing you as well, are also Hag's product. Superior product. Again, they're more manufactured in the US, but having gone down there, wanted to fish in Texas my entire life, finally did it at the age that I'm at now, and it was great. So I picked up some of the baits down there. I've tried them up here. I've been successful actually catching bass on a variety of these baits. But to end this video, have a lot of them with you. Have 3 or 4 packs of your favorites. You will probably go through, on average, if I'm having a really successful day and the fish are hitting hard and chomping on the bait, I'll probably go through about a pack or 2 a day. And that may only be, you know, landing 7, 8 fish. So have a variety with you. Check a bunch of them out. Again, Berkley makes a bunch of great ones. Zoom makes a bunch of great ones. Anything from the US, again, Hag's tornado baits are fantastic. You can order them from his website there as well. But that's how I'm going to end my little video here on creature baits and soft plastics. Try and do a lot of that, mixing and matching. Something stops working, don't necessarily root it out and not use it. Maybe throw a different color, maybe throw a different size. So thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.